All right, today we're diving into an architect who didn't just design buildings, she pretty much bent reality to her will. I'm talking, of course, about the revolutionary Zaha Hadid, a name you've probably heard, the Queen of Curves.
And you know what? That's not an exaggeration at all. This quote from The Guardian, it just nails it. Think about it. Before Hadid came along, architecture was, well, it was a lot of straight lines, right? A lot of boxes. She came in and just completely shattered that mold. She totally changed the game.
I mean, just look at this. This is the London Aquatics Center from the 2012 Olympics. It's not just a building, is it? It looks like a giant wave that's been frozen in time, totally inspired by the movement of water. This is classic Hadid. It's powerful, it's organic, and honestly, it's just breathtaking. So, where did a vision like this even come from? I mean, how does someone start thinking this way? To get that, we really have to go back to the beginning. Okay, so she was born in Baghdad back in 1950. And right from the start, her brain was this amazing mix of logic and art. First, she studied mathematics in Beirut, so she had this really strong foundation in abstract systems. But then she moves to London for architecture school, and that's where she gets hit by the radical energy of the Russian avant-garde. And that combination, mathematical precision plus pure artistic rebellion, that became the secret sauce for her entire career. And people could see her genius from day one. I mean, her professor was the legendary Rem Koolhaas, and he called her a planet in her own orbit. What a description, right? She wasn't just following the trends of the day. No way. She was creating her own universe, her own gravitational pull. And this really gets at her rebellious spirit. Another professor, Elia Zengalis, said they used to call her the inventor of the 89 degrees. Just think about that for a second. Everything we know is built on 90-degree angles. But for her, nothing was static. Everything was just a little bit off, dynamic, like it was about to explode into motion. Okay, so having a radical vision is great, but actually getting someone to build it, that's a whole different story. And for a long, long time, Zaha Hadid was famous, but weirdly enough, not for her actual buildings. Yeah, for a huge chunk of her early career, they called her a paper architect. Basically, she would create these absolutely stunning, vibrant paintings of her designs. You'd see them in magazines and exhibitions, and everyone would rave about them. But the people with the money, the builders, they just looked at them and said, no way, this is impossible. It's too wild, too complex, too expensive to ever build. And this timeline, man, it just shows you the struggle. So in '83, she wins this huge competition for a project in Hong Kong. Awesome, right? Except it never gets built. Then in '88, she's a star in a massive MoMA exhibition, gets global recognition, and still nothing. No one's hiring her to build. And then comes the biggest gut punch, 1994. She wins the design for the Cardiff Bay Opera House, and the funding body just rejects it. They just say no. You can just feel her anger and belief in this quote. After the Cardiff rejection, she basically asked, do they want nothing but mediocrity? It's not just about being upset, it's this fierce, defiant belief that what she was doing mattered, and she wasn't going to compromise just because the world hadn't caught up yet. But here's the thing. The world was going to have to catch up, because the paper architect was finally about to pour some concrete. And this is the building that changed it all. The Vitra fire station in Germany. It was finished in 1993, and it looks like a sculpture made of concrete and glass, just all these sharp, crashing, diagonal shapes. Funnily enough, it wasn't a great fire station, but that didn't matter. Its real purpose was to be the launching pad for Zaha Hadid's career. And after Vitra, the floodgates opened. The commissions finally started rolling in. In Austria, you've got this incredible ski jump. She called it an organic hybrid of a bridge and a tower. And then, a massive moment in Cincinnati, she becomes the first woman ever to design an art museum in the US, a huge deal. And the momentum just didn't stop. You have the Phänoscience Center in Germany. I mean, it literally looks like a spaceship just touched down. And then there's this museum extension in Denmark. It's the perfect example of her style. It's this beautiful concrete shell, and you won't find a single right angle anywhere in it. Okay, so now for a truly mind-blowing fact. After all this struggle, after these incredible first projects, she wins architecture's absolute highest honor. But get this, how many buildings do you think she'd actually finished at that point? The answer is 4. That's it, Just 4. I'm not kidding. In 2004, with just a handful of buildings to her name, Zaha Hadid becomes the first woman ever to win the Pritzker Prize. The jury wasn't just looking at what she'd done, they were looking at her potential. They were betting on her future. And let me tell you, that was one of the best bets anyone in architecture ever made. So winning the Pritzker changed everything. It cemented her status. Suddenly, she wasn't that radical outsider anymore. She was a global starchitect. And now she was going to start reshaping skylines all over the planet. And after the Pritzker, her work just explodes in scale and ambition. I mean, look at the MAXXI Museum in Rome. It's this incredible web of flowing, intersecting concrete forms. Or over in China, the Guangzhou Opera House. Her inspiration? She said it was like 2 giant, smooth pebbles you'd find on a riverbank. So beautiful. Which brings us to one of her most famous and, most controversial buildings, the Heydar Aliyev Center in Azerbaijan. On one hand, from a purely architectural standpoint, it's a total masterpiece. People called it a white vision, just this incredible flowing space. But on the other hand, it kicked us some really serious ethical debates. See, it was named for a former authoritarian leader. So critics started asking, should an architect accept a job like this? Should an awards committee give a prize to a building that basically memorializes a dictator? It's a really tough question, right, where art and politics collide. But controversies aside, her impact is just undeniable. You have to understand, she wasn't just a great architect. She was a total trailblazer. The first woman to win the Pritzker, the first woman to win the Royal Gold Medal on her own. She just kept smashing through barriers in what was and still largely is a very male-dominated world. And then, really tragically, Zaha Hadid passed away suddenly in 2016. But her vision, the force of her ideas, was just too strong to die with her. Her firm, Zaha Hadid Architects, is still going strong, completing her designs and continuing to push the boundaries just like she would have wanted. You look at a building like this, the Galaxy Soho in Beijing, and it feels like it's alive, like it's in constant motion. And what's really incredible is that some of her absolute biggest projects, like the massive Beijing Daxing Airport or the Al Janoub Stadium in Qatar, they were actually finished after she was gone. It just goes to show you, she built a legacy that is truly immortal, written in concrete, steel, and glass. So, that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Zaha Hadid showed the world that buildings don't have to be boring, static boxes. They can be dynamic, they can be fluid, they can feel alive. She completely liberated geometry. So the big question for us is, how will the Queen of Curves continue to inspire the future? How will her ideas shape the cities that we and the generations after us will live in?